Are you dreaming of the lifestyle that comes with successful trading? Well, it's time to make it a reality. Welcome to the Trading Ascension podcast, where you can discover methods to improve your trading results by focusing on your trading psychology. I'm Jason E., your guide on this path to trading improvement, self-discovery, and self-mastery. Together, we'll explore the personal and spiritual growth journey of profitable day trading. Prepare to unlock the secrets of the trader's mind and align your inner self with your personal success. Listen to this episode if you want to ascend to new levels of trading excellence and personal development. This is Trading Ascension, supporting your journey to mastering trading psychology and personal growth for consistent profits. Let's elevate your trading and your consciousness starting now. In today's episode, we're diving into a few powerful tools and a mental exercise that help me align with my goals and make better decisions, things I've used even just this past week. If you've ever wondered, how can I make better decisions as a day trader, this episode is for you. We'll explore tools from the family of growth that I like to call the relationship methods. That area of trading improvement, it focuses on bridging the gap between who you are now and that person/trader that you want to become. Tools in the relationship method arena that require us to build a better relationship with our trading plan, our future self, and our data as well. By the end of this episode, you're going to have actionable insights to elevate your trading mindset, sharpen your focus, and align with your future self, the successful trader that you're working to become. This episode, that was tough. This episode is for the trader who experiences that feeling of, I knew better after they took the action. The trader who either through feeling, emotion, maybe an inner voice, they got a hunch that the action that they're going to take may not be the best, but they still made that choice. And I think that's the most frustrating part of the journey. It's not knowing how to change your behavior. And when I couldn't find very many people talking about the importance of behavioral change, I was called to share my journey and my data with others, hence the Trading Ascension platform. And before we dive into today's tools, I want to revisit the hurdles that we faced in a way that provides solutions. First is lost. Not knowing, where to start or what to do, what direction to go into. One of the early problems that we face as a trader. And we solve this by building a trading plan and having a system as our foundation. And then we commit to consistency, implementing that system and that plan so we can get accurate data from consistent input. Because success doesn't come overnight. And every journey has to start somewhere. Now, me personally, I believe strategies are a dime a dozen. You can get them from books. You can get them from, AI. You can get them from successful people. But a successful strategy is less important than implementing the successful strategy, right? I think that's more important and the bigger hurdle. So once we know what to do, we're no longer lost, but we can become stuck. And stuck is when you know what isn't working, but you're feeling overwhelmed because you're unclear on how to fix it. And the solution here is that you have the accurate data to keep you from being lost. And through consistent actions and reviewing that data, you can find clarity. Data and experience will guide you toward clarity, illuminating the problems that you need to work on first. The answers are always going to be in your data. Now, once you figure out what you should be doing, you have accurate data, and in that data, you can see what problems. And when I say data, this can be the trading data. It's also our trading journal. It's our adherence to our plan. And it's the relationship method when it comes to the gap between how we show up and who we want to be, that feeling of being a successful trader. So in those areas of data, we can gain clarity. But at that point, a lot of traders face feeling alone. Now, alone is having the knowledge, but struggling with behavioral change. Knowing what to do, but not being able to act on it consistently. Alone means you're separated from the knowledge itself to move you forward. And it could be a person or a mentor that has that knowledge on how to change. And it also could be community. Alone means you don't have the support system to move you forward in your trading career, which I believe every trader needs. It's hard to trade in a silo. You can expedite your learning experience and your growth journey just by having community, going to trader meetings, listening to shows like the Trading Ascension podcast. So the solution is to seek wisdom, whether from mentors, communities, self-reflection, empowering yourself to change. Now, I promote a deliberate practice merged with psycho-cybernetics to produce behavioral change, and I believe it works well. These hurdles are part of every trader's journey. And, we don't all have to battle everything that's on the journey, but they're definitely on the journey. Sometimes we have quick solutions for things. And sometimes we bring skills that allow us to not face certain hurdles as much as other people, right? It's all respective to our journey. But all of these issues, overcoming them is possible with tools like the ones we'll discuss today, and not limited to these tools. Now, as traders, our craft boils down to clicking buttons, but our ability to make sound decisions is what truly separates successful traders from the rest. This relies heavily on mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects rather than the physical ones, right? Which is obvious, right? This is not a physical craft. But that is where discernment comes into play, helping us navigate and avoid self-sabotaging behaviors. This week, I had an exciting breakthrough in my personal growth journey as a trader. I uncovered some shadow aspects of myself, and those hidden beliefs didn't align with my goals. And I learned how to embrace them instead of suppressing them. And this process helped me avoid self-sabotage and stay aligned with my trading plan. The psychologist Carl Jung, he famously said that our shadow self will always get the last word if unaddressed, right? And that's not a direct quote. But it can lead us into emotional triggers and undesired actions if we don't deal with the shadow self. So understanding that concept is key to avoiding impulsive mistakes in our trading. And so previously, we've talked on this show about tools that are foundational to our discernment. Sorry. Now let's start with a foundational tool I call the surgery rule. Imagine you're undergoing heart surgery. Your chest plate is sawed open and your life depends on the surgeon's ability and their focus. Would you want your surgeon texting while they're working on your heart? Would you want your surgeon watching YouTube during the surgery? Absolutely not. You'd want them completely locked in. And listen, the same principle applies to our trading. Multitasking might feel productive, and a lot of it is due to our dopamine addictions and needing that stimulation. But it actually diminishes focus. Now, I'm not talking about just some music in the background, right? That's been studied to be beneficial. But a critical skill for traders is focus. And focus is like a muscle that needs consistent training to grow stronger over time. And when I was building my focus, I started small, 15 minutes of uninterrupted focus on the charts, and I gradually increased over days, weeks, and months. Another key to increasing focus is avoiding the distractions, right? The surgery rule tells us we don't need the social media, the live stream going on during our trading sessions. Use tools like classical movement or music, which again is proven to enhance brain function if needed. But by treating trading with the same professionalism as a surgeon or even like a military operations under pressure, you can significantly improve your decision-making ability. And imagine the pressure of a military. And I'm not comparing, but I'm just talking about situations to make us look at the approach we take to our trading. A military guy in a firefight, most likely they're not going to want to have a podcast on about military firefights while they're in one. Focus is a muscle. You have to build on the time that you are able to focus on the charts. Now, even with all the focus pills, coffees, drink supplements that I've used to aid me in that area, I still had to build focus and that muscle with consistency by working to make it stronger daily. When I first started trading, I wasn't a morning person. So a lot of my battle initially was just fighting off not only the lack of focus, but the sleep monster, right? He was on my head. So focus is a muscle that needs consistent training. Again, start with 15 minutes of uninterrupted chart focus and gradually increase over time. And you're going to need more focus time than you actually use. You might be thinking like, you know what, I only trade the open first 30 minutes to an hour. If that's the case, you want to have at least 2 hours of focus in the reserve. You want to overtrain to be prepared for that, right? It's like if you're training for a marathon, you don't want to train to run the exact step to get to that, 32 miles or whatever that is, right? You want to be able to go through the finish line. And by treating trading the same as, with the same intensity as a surgeon, you can significantly improve your decision making. And the second tool is the future self clarity, right? I think this was, I wrote it down here. I don't know if I wrote this down accurately, but it was April 13th episode of 2023. And the future self, that exercise helps you craft a vision of yourself as a successful trader. Not someone else's version of success, but your own. And here's how it works. You start with visualizing, this is just an overview. You start with visualizing your future self with your trading goals already accomplished. And you ask questions like, how does that feel? What does your environment look like? You're taking the 5 senses and you're trying to enhance them in this mental imagery. How do you interact with others? And you use that vision to start to create habits that align with your state of being. So in essence, big picture, you are creating this state, an emotional state, and you're pulling that state into the now by starting to embody the habits of that person in the vision. For example, if your future self doesn't trade out of desperation or fear, right now you want to work on cultivating calmness and confidence during trades, right? So you have action and a direct goal from a emotional, mental, spiritual standpoint to take every single day. Gives you clarity and action to take. Keeps you from being lost as a trader. If your future self, being that accomplished trader version of you, interacts in a certain way with friends and family, you might need to start attempting to do that. Showing up as the person you want to be. Why wait? Be that person because that person gets results. Don't wait for the results and then think you're going to be that person because the results won't come. Remember the show about state of being last season? I probably got more feedback from that show than any other show that didn't have a guest. But on that show, we talked about feeling accomplished while trading and not harboring the energy of lack, not having that seeking or desperation energy, which even the, Holy Bible tells us that energy is repellent to success. And it tells us that with verses like Matthew 13:12. And it says, whoever has been given more, they will have. Whoever has will have abundance. Whoever does not have, even what they have, will be taken from them. So in this verse, it talks about having to get more. And those who don't have, everything will be taken from them. And there's a lot of ways to take this verse, but when you look at the psychology of it, you have to be in a certain state and you have to take certain actions to bring about certain results. These tools, they help us bridge the gap between who you are now and who you want to become. Now, if your future successful self doesn't trade out of desperation and fear, again, you'll work on calmness and confidence. So let's look at today's tools. And I'm excited because it's a game changer. And I just remember these tools and all tools in regards to personal and spiritual development are used to help you embody habits to be different. It takes heavy focus and energy at first, but then it should become easy and not cumbersome at all. So let's set up some tools that we can use. And let me talk about the reason behind it, because the goal is discernment. Successful traders exhibit keen insight and good judgment. And these qualities help them, and they help us navigate markets effectively while avoiding fear-based or impulsive decisions. Okay, so how can we make better decisions as a day trader? How can we be sharp, focused, and aligned with the version of ourselves that can act in our own best interest? One answer is we have to have and build the muscle of discernment. I believe, based on my personal experience and the communication with and watching other successful traders, that discernment is a common quality of profitable traders. When I say discernment is a quality of successful traders, I mean that they have the ability, and then this is the definition, they have the ability to tap into the process of exhibiting keen insight and good judgment. Discernment is often used in religious texts, right? It pops up there a lot. And there it means the ability to obtain sharp perceptions or to judge well. Now, Wikipedia stated the process of discernment within judgment involves going past the mere perception of something and making nuanced judgments about its properties or qualities. We always are talking about the nuance of the personal and spiritual growth journey of profitable day trading. And one thing I like about that as well is I like the word qualities in that definition. I like that because based on our trading plan, we have qualities that we are looking for in a trading setup, that we are looking for in the market. And we can best find those qualities and those situations that prompt our action in the market when we are in the right state of being. When we're in the right state of being, we are less likely to experience the emotions and feelings that support bad decisions, fear, greed, FOMO, and these villains. And when we think about how the brain works, delete, distort, generalize, right? The three subconscious functions that happen to all information that goes into the human brain. Our focus and our emotion at that moment is going to determine how that system works. So to best put us in a place, in a state for success, we have to be focused on the right things, right? So discernment is best aided with clarity. And I discovered through failure just this past week, discernment involves two key factors, right? Understanding your inner wisdom, right? So one is, how does your inner voice communicate with you? I want you to think about that if you never have. Is it a gut feeling? Is it like a little voice, like something that's telling you something? Maybe it's a second logical voice because you're naturally impulsive originally. Take time to reflect on how wisdom manifests itself within you. And it's different for everyone, but we have to know thyself. If this isn't clear yet, consider meditating regularly so you can separate external programming from your authentic self. Only through meditation do we clear out and wipe out the world, clear the board of our mind, and then we can tell what is added onto us. But without quieting the mind, you don't know what's you. You don't know what the programming. You don't know what's the world. You don't know what's influence. You don't know what's subconscious beliefs, fear. So if you can't go down the path and figure out, you know what, I usually get a hunch, I usually get a gut feeling, then try meditating. That answer will come to you. But two is managing stress and fear. When you know how you speak to yourself, but you also know how stress impacts your decision-making process. For example, my natural reaction to fear, it used to be kind of going right at it. So it would cause me to revenge trade, right? A costly mistake. But when you recognize these triggers early, they don't go undetected in your mind. And when you combine these two factors, I want you to think about this because this was insightful for me this week. You're combining those two factors. You know how your inner voice talks. You know how you react to stress. And we'll even say specifically the stress of the market. When you combine those two factors, it allows you to stay aligned with your ideal state of being while trading. And this is how it works. I'll give you a personal example. My inner voice is always first. It appears in like a hunch form. Now, my impulse is to take bold action. So I know this about myself, right? No doubt. Studied it, journaling, just got outside of myself to see this action. And this is how I show up, to accept that. Not that I want it to be that way, but it is what it is, right? It's somewhat the shadow, but now it's coming to the light. So last Monday, I went down in P&L early. I think I was trading the pre-market. Got down after the open about $860. Now, through numerous first target trades, I just hitting the first target and breaking even on the runners, right? I worked my way back. So I wasn't getting any big moves. So it was a battle, right? And I was down. I was green, but net down like $199 after, commission fees and stuff. So it was a battle to get back, right? In my mind, at least, right? It wasn't easy. Too many trades to get back up from just a few trade losses. Now, my inner voice initially was like, yeah, I'm green overall. And today was a fight. It's not an ideal market. You should walk away, reset later for today or tomorrow, right? That's what I was thinking. But then my natural fear, right? Greed, some other things, said, nah, you're close, man. Just pretend you're starting from the day, right? 200 down, it's almost like zero. You can start there and you can build up. And then that's when the back and forth started, right? Maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. What should I do? What should I do? How's this say? Look, is there a trade right now to take? And at that point, I didn't know what came first, right? I didn't know if the stop or the go was the initial thing. I didn't know what side I was arguing for. It was just kind of a mental debate going on. And I followed the emotion and I kept trading. And that small loss day turned into a larger, avoidable loss day, before I just stopped in frustration saying, should have listened to myself. And that was the last time, and it will be the last time that I fall victim to that, because I learned what I'm sharing with you from that event. And it was the last straw. I guess because it happened before, that this time I was more aware, but now I'm uber aware of the two factors that can spot this self-sabotage. So I now know without a doubt that when I get into inner dialogue, that talking, that justifying, that lawyering myself to do something, I know I'm on the wrong path. But when I get on that path, in the moment, it's too late to find like the trailhead where it started. So I have to avoid it altogether, because once I'm in it, I can never know from that point what was the original thought. I have to wait till clarity afterwards. And I, through curiosity, a lot of times have gotten on that path. Like, oh, my mind's saying stop, but what might happen if? And sometimes I'll halfway make the right decision. Say, you know what, I'm curious. Let me go on sim and take that trade. Then I'll just have to reset, which is kind of the main tool of today's show. But when you know how you, one, talk to yourself, and two, how you deal with stress, you can merge those into some clarity like I'm talking about. And because it's so personal to me, I'm just trying to share this information so you can take your own self-knowledge and just apply it in a way that empowers you. Now, in contrast, someone who has a different thinking modality, they might need that second voice to counteract that initial impulse, right? We're all different. Again, just examples. So maybe their thought on impulse is like, yeah, keep trading. Let's go. Add some contracts, right? Let's level up. We can go be green now. We're only down 200. And then maybe for them, logic says, no, we're emotional right now. Let's stop. Again, like, you have to know yourself. But you can combine those two things and you can get better discernment. The self-wisdom comes from us always in a simple form, right? So when you're thinking about how do I talk to myself? How does that inner wisdom come? It's going to be a simple form, and it's usually based on our best sense. We all have a dominating sense compared to our other emotions and our senses. Now listen, even if you are a second thought person, gut feeling, maybe your hand itches, maybe you have an intuition, whatever it is, know that thinking and trading isn't a good thing. So any extended debate is usually the wrong path. And that's for all of us. But you have to find your strong sense. Human design information helps with that. When you know how you deal with pressure, you can avoid thinking in your trading. And when you know how your self-talk plays out, you can be more receptive to inner hunches and avoid overthinking. And that's going to build trust over time with yourself and with your system if you're taking consistent action. And I've had many successful traders tell me, trading, when done successfully, is about reacting. Thinking is a sign that you either lack experience or there is an ambiguity, which is our biggest enemy. Think about if someone says, "What's your name?" There's no thinking. What's your mom's name? There's no thinking. How old are you? Might be a little thinking, but not a lot of thinking. You know these things. You should know your trading plan, your trading strategy, no thinking. So before we wrap this up, I have powerhouse information and a tool for you to use as action steps this week. Action steps. The power question that I want to share is simple yet powerful, and it can help you lock into the ideal state of being, which is a mental and emotional state that is perfect for trading. This question is a tool that you can use daily, even multiple times a day throughout your trading session to ensure that you're aligned with your best self. The more you ask yourself this question, the more familiar you'll become with the state that it produces. A state where you're making decisions that are in your own best interest. Here's the question. Am I the right person to be trading right now? This question is designed to help you embody the mindset and energy of a successful trader. It's not just about asking. It's about using it as a checkpoint to assess your current state and then close gaps between how you're feeling in the moment and how you should feel while trading, while living your life. So how do we use this tool? For the next week, I challenge you to set reminders on your phone, prompts in your journal, even a sticky note on your monitor. I love sticky notes. And I wanted to prompt you to ask yourself, am I the right person to be trading right now? This question helps shed light on key aspects of your mental and emotional state. For example, this question is implying things like, am I bored? Are you seeking revenge for something, for a loss? Are you trying to prove something, right? And think a winning trade's gonna be the proof of that. Are you lacking and hoping a winning trade will fix it? It also prompts deeper self-reflection, right? Am I calm and focused? Am I breathing deeply? Or am I shallow breathing, right? Which often leads to shallow thinking. When you check in with yourself using this question, you have to take honest stock of where you are mentally and emotionally. If something feels off, if the answer isn't an immediate yes, then take the action to correct it. And that might mean stepping away for a break, regulating your breathing, hydrating, eating something that's nourishing. Remember, shallow breathing is a friend of shallow thinking. So deep, diaphragmatic breathing can help reset both your body and your mind. If asking this question reveals that you're not in an ideal state for trading, don't simply accept no. That's just being negative. And instead, you want to ask yourself, what do I need to do right now to become the right person to trade? And this is where honesty and action come into play. If you aren't ideal, but instead of taking a moment to get back in the flow, a lot of times we think we're going to miss opportunity. And that's not true. Maybe you need a moment of silence to refocus. Do it. So on this path, you're likely going to need to fight off FOMO, the fear of missing out. And you can do that by reminding yourself that there will always be another opportunity. What's important is that you do whatever it takes, do what's necessary to get back in alignment with your optimal trading state. And here's an important caveat. Again, if the answer is no, don't let that discourage or paralyze you. Don't sit down and give in. Instead, take immediate steps to recalibrate and get back on track. Remember this truth. Your desire for success, your clarity of success is proof that it's possible for you. You wouldn't have that vision, that goal, or be on this path if it wasn't achievable. You would quit, or you will quit. So this week, see how many times during both your trading sessions and everyday life you could ask yourself the question, am I the right person to be trading right now? The goal is for yes to become your default answer, but if it isn't, don't stay stuck in no land. Use the question as a guidepost to steer yourself back toward focus, clarity, and feeling of alignment with your goals. I've given you some examples of how to do that, but again, that can be personal for you and how you get back on track. By consistently practicing that exercise and asking that question, you're going to develop a habit of checking in with yourself and taking corrective action when needed, thus keeping yourself more aligned. Self-accountability. And then over time, this will help you embody the qualities of a successful trader, not just during trades, but in all areas of life. After all, how we do anything is how we do everything. To recap today, we revisited 2 powerful tools for making better decisions as a day trader. We talked about the surgery the surgery rule. You're a fool if you don't do that rule. All right. That's focus like a surgeon. We talked about future self clarity, foundational. If you don't have clarity on your future self and your goals as a trader, like you're behind. You're not where you should be, but you can work on it. We explored how a quality of great trader traders is discernment. Discernment means understanding inner wisdom, managing stress, clearing ourselves and mentally so we can make the best decision possible and act in our own best interests. Every successful trader has discernment. And then we finish with a question we can use to check in and navigate our life towards the highest path and timeline that we can find in any given moment. Your challenge this week is simple. Reflect on how these tools can be applied to your trading journey and begin implementing them one step at a time. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a fellow trader. Please leave a review. It helps our community grow. This community of mindful traders striving for success. I hope these tools help you stay aligned this week with your best self. Remember, success isn't just about strategy. It's about who we are when we execute that strategy. Have an amazing week ahead, traders. Here's to becoming the hero of your story and the person that you know you're capable of being. And by asking yourself this simple yet powerful question regularly, you not only improve your trading decisions, but you also grow into being that hero of your story. Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Trading Ascension Podcast. I hope you found valuable insights to help you on your day trading journey. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support by subscribing and leaving reviews helps me reach more traders like you and continue to provide this valuable content. Don't forget to head over to the tradingascension.com website for free resources, more tips, and exclusive content. If you can't wait till the next show, check out some of the previous episodes. They're great. But do join me on the next episode. And until then, keep ascending, stay mindful, and remember, your journey to mastering trading psychology for consistent profits starts with your willingness to embrace personal growth.